When I was growing up, they actually taught music in public school. I knew the meanings of melody and counterpart by 8th grade. But in today's world, learning music is a luxury reserved for very few. With the exceptions of Juilliard, Berkeley, and a number of other music programs found in universities, the opportunities to learn about the craft of music creation are rare. Hence, the Composer's Corner, a place where we interview music creators, dissect songs, explore new gadgets and techniques, and give you a window into the world of music creation. Welcome to the Composer's Corner.
You're a dream coming true. I can't believe how I have fallen for you. I was not looking, was content to remain. And it's ironic to be back in the game. How could I know that I was lost without you? I want to tell you, you control my reign, and you should know that you are life in my veins. You're a dream. I remember slow dancing to that song, falling very deeply in love the very first time I heard it. And it stayed with me ever since. The production, the vocalists, the songwriting, the lyric. It's one of those great songs that, well, lasts forever. And it was written by today's guest, who we will be visiting. Hi, I'm Jeanie Cunningham, by the way, and welcome to another episode of the Composer's Corner. So, I have to load up my gear, because right now we're in my studio. But we're going to go to our guest's studio, and en route, why don't we take a look at Melody Lane? See you when we get there.
There's about 20 people in town who think I wrote the song Fallen for them. Oops. The song changed my life.
Fidgeting, you look very beautiful and very tall.
I can't believe how I have fallen for you.
She's always been a little bit different, though she was never made to think of herself that way while growing up. Her dad, Saul, supported her intense love for animals. In fact, his own devotion to them led from training German Shepherds for the Army to owning the largest pet store in the United States, which he ran for most of his life. Her mom, Edie, supported the wackiness and creativity of her only daughter, Eileen Lynn Rappaport, and would bribe Eileen to practice piano, using Eileen's desire to purchase pop records as leverage. Eileen, nicknamed Chunky as a child, and later known as Lauren Wood, hated music lessons as much as the next kid, but her affinity for Gershwin, Rogers, Motown, and the Beatles kept her at it. It helped that her cousin from Los Angeles, Eileen Novog, known as Novi, also played a musical instrument, the viola. And from their very first days as children together, the two of them conspired to create their own music. Not surprisingly, their first song, Twerp's Theme, was an instrumental about an unfortunate bird they'd tried to rescue. Recorded on a friend's reel-to-reel, other songs soon followed. Deciding in high school to form a band, Chunky and her best friend Kiki, along with fellow musician Mickey Kapner, stole the bass player Ernie Aramita from another band in town. Rebecca and the Sunnybrook Farmers was born, and they began performing in the Pittsburgh region, soon opening for major acts at the largest venues in the tri-state region.
That's Rebecca and the Sunnybrook Farmers from Pittsburgh.
A record deal with Musicor Records in New York soon followed with the release of only one album, Birth. Feeling they'd reached their peak on the East Coast, the band decided to relocate to Los Angeles. Camping out in Novi's parents' house and practicing daily, they soon caught the attention of a newly signed staff producer at Warner Brothers by the name of Ted Templeman, who himself had been in the group Harper's Bazaar. Simultaneously, they caught the eye of Frank Zappa, the band's hero and friend, and soon the group found themselves in the middle of a bidding war between Warner Brothers Records and Zappa's label, Bizarre Records. Warner's won out, originally signing the band as Rebecca and the Sunnybrook Farmers, but by this point, the members had dwindled down to just Chunky, Novi, and Ernie, so that became their new name. Becoming the band's mentor, Ted co-produced 2 albums on the group, encouraging them each time to stretch out and get as crazy as they wanted to. The first 2 albums met with marginal success, with a song on the second album, Didn't Wanna Hurt Ya for Another Guy, being the one to get the most airplay. But 3 years would pass before the next album, during which time Chunky's songs were being discovered by other artists. And Novi was becoming more in demand both as a sessionist and as a member of Zappa's band, the Mothers of Invention. Encouraged by the financial rewards of songwriting, Chunky found herself transitioning from writing for the more specific nature of Chunky, Novi, and Ernie music to writing more accessible songs in general. And she also found herself transitioning to a new name and identity as well. The record that originally started out as Chunky, Novi, and Ernie No. 3 ended up evolving into Lauren Wood. Enlisting all the A players in town, her new producer, Michael James Jackson, co-produced a song with Ted Templeman that paired Lauren's voice with Michael McDonald's in a song called Please Don't Leave.
Miss Lauren Wood.
The song became Lauren's first hit, reaching the top 20 in pop, number 3 in adult contemporary, and even hitting number 1 in Nashville. Naturally, Lauren's songs became even more in demand, being covered by such artists as Leo Sayer, Billy Preston and Sarita, Lanny Hall, and Maxine Nightingale, to name a few. Lauren went back into the studio with 2 new producers, Peter Bonetta and Rick Chudikoff, to record the next album for Warner's, Cat Tricks. Simultaneously, she was performing live, and one night, in lieu of an opening act, she decided to run a slideshow of her cat, Bunny, dressed in funny costumes. The overwhelmingly positive response of the audience inspired Lauren and photographer Sherry Barnett to partner up in creating a new business, Cat Tricks Publications. Meanwhile, Cat Tricks, the album, included a song called Fallin' on it. While it was one of Lauren's favorites, Warner's disagreed, telling her that because the song had no chorus, it could never really be a hit. And because there was no obvious hit, well, they never really got behind the record. And subsequently, they dropped Lauren from the label. Though she was without a label for the next 9 years, her songs and voice were still in demand, as well as her appearances in popular TV shows.
Anyway, I was having some trouble getting in, and Lauren Wood was playing, and I really liked it.
She continued to record on her own, sing on other people's records, and even produced other artists. including famed Star Search vocalist Sam Harris.
For this colossus of entertainment.
She had also begun starring as the character Little Two in a bizarre series which spoofed Ed Wood's films. They Must Be Told featured cameo appearances by well-known celebrities, and the series quickly attained cult status.
If I do say so myself.
Your best friend, Linda Ronstadt.
Best friend?
Yeah.
Holy
You're out walking around. Bail in the way of my car, okay?
I know your stuff is wonderful, but as far as the rest of the world is concerned, they think that it's slump. It's worthless, totally worthless.
But in 1990, her life was to change radically and unexpectedly. A movie called Pretty Woman, starring Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, featured one of Lauren's songs, Fallen, which soon found itself rising to the top of the charts. To date, the soundtrack has sold over 16 million copies, and the song, Fallen, has become one of the most requested love songs in radio and wedding history. Recorded by many artists in many languages, Fallen, the no-hit song that Warner's had passed on, put Lauren back on top again, as a songwriter, as a vocalist, and as a performer. Meanwhile, Cat Tricks Publications was named Company of the Year by Entrepreneur magazine, and Lauren's voice had become as distinctive as her songs. She could be heard singing in commercials.
Seems like a hassle. Screw it.
And TV series as well.
I love that song.
I know.
In 1994, however, Lauren was to encounter a mysterious illness that threatened her singing career altogether.
And it wasn't even a thing where I couldn't hold notes. I actually, could barely even sing for a while. It was so bad.
Until the cause, adult onset asthma, was diagnosed and the treatment finally taking effect, Lauren found herself writing to compensate for the new limitations in her voice, which she felt she could no longer rely upon in either range or power. Her songs became not only a reflection of who she was emotionally, but where she was physically as well. Once the problem was resolved a few years later, Lauren continued to record on her own and perform both domestically and internationally. In 1998, she released her first CD under her new label, Bad Art Records, which met with great reviews and substantial sales. While not particularly enjoying the business end, she still managed respectable sales and excellent reviews through radio and TV promotions and publicity.
Song, Fallen, from the movie Pretty Woman. Sing it, girl.
Her songwriting had expanded to include creating songs for cartoons. And her vocalizing now includes character acting.
Almost as much fun as being perfectly squeakily clean.
No, really,
I'd wager you were planning to alert the authorities to fly in and pick me up the moment I got there.
Lauren Wood continues her father's legacy of love for animals, embracing them and contributing to their well-being any chance she gets. She continues to honor her mother's faith in her creativity by writing and recording new material, constantly exploring, reinventing, and redefining herself in the process. Her most recent release, Love, Death, and Customer Service, continues her legacy of expression with a maturity that can only come from the experiences of life, which often takes us full circle. The two cousins, Lauren and Nobi, continue to play and perform together even today with the same wacky joy they had as children, unrestrained and undaunted. And through Lauren's music, we're reminded that, in spite of all the challenges and restrictions in life, the soul of the true artist can almost always be found playing.
Welcome back to the Composer's Corner. I see you made it all the way to Lauren Wood's house here in Hollywood Hills. We're in Laurel Canyon. And yes, it's quite an interesting drive to find our way here, but we're here. And Lauren, thank you so much. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I
really.
said thank you. This could get rhythmic. Get too careful. Listen, I learned a lot about you on this, and one of the things that I found really fascinating is your transitions as a songwriter. When you started out with Chunky, Novi, and Ernie, and like the Rebecca and the Sunnybrook Farmer stages, you were all over the scale. I mean, your musical stuff was, you were going from chords that would just go here, go there, go everywhere.
When I was with Chunky, Novi, and Ernie, my influences were classical music and musical comedy, because that's what I heard in the house. That's what my parents played all the time. So it was natural for me to play with those influences. So I'd put melodies all over the place, and sometimes I'd start a song, and it would start here and end up here. There was no repetition, there were no choruses.
Right.
And it would start here, and then each section would never repeat itself, sometimes on some of the songs. So I thought, as an experiment, I would like, oh, what is it they're doing with pop music? What are those things where they repeat all these things all the time? So it started out as an exercise and sort of a challenge to see if I could do it, and I decided, oh, look at that. The melody's not all over the place. Sometimes it's like 3 notes, but it sounds like it's something. And they repeat these little sections. So it started out as an exercise, and then it sort of became fun to do that. And then when I made my first money,
Like
when
your first
somebody
check?
actually covered a song, it was like, that was like a lot of encouragement.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you enjoy doing work for hire by any chance?
I've done it only a few times. I've done it a few times for animation. And then it was really fun because we were putting music to a visual of like little monkeys dancing or something. And then work for hire is fun for me. But I never really do it. Only one time. I always write for myself, essentially. One time I tried to write a Pointer Sisters song. The Pointer Sisters actually covered it, then dropped it because Richard Perry said it sounded too much like their last record. But it was okay. Yeah. It was okay because then right after that, Gladys Knight picked it up, and then Dusty Springfield, my hero.
Does anybody get the impression she's name dropping?
What is? If I was name dropping, I'd go Jeanie Cunningham.
You know, that's dropping. Anyway, let's describe your process of writing. Okay. Do you ever write songs in the car?
If you want to know how I actually write, it's a sort of an unusual way. What happens is I'll usually be like playing another song, and I'll hit a wrong chord, and I go, oh, that's pretty, that's really weird, and that's pretty. Now what other kind of weird chord can I hit? And I hit another pretty weird chord, and I follow one weird chord after the next, and then I go, what's the prettiest, absolutely the prettiest melody I can put with that? And that becomes my melody, and oftentimes I write a melody that's not in the chord. And that's like one of my little weird tricks. I write melodies outside of the chords, and when I move around on the chords, but a lot of times when I'm emphasizing a note, it's not in the chord. Oh, and here's another weird thing that I do. I have to immediately turn on the tape recorder.
Yes, you do.
Immediately, because I'm not like, Beethoven, and I could never be deaf and write music. If somebody holds a gun to my head, I can read music, but not a few times people have held guns to my head, but not usually.
That explains the hair.
It's like, stop already. So anyways, I turn on the tape recorder and I write my little hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
I babble into the tape recorder, and then I listen back later in the car and I try to make sense of the babbling, and I go for what sounds good in the melody. And then usually what happens is the babbling is actually something I've been thinking about, sort of. And it'll start from syllables, and then they'll turn into words, and I have to always distract myself. When I'm usually writing words, I have to drive, eat lunch, do something else so it's just comes through me, or else it'll sound contrived. So it has to just flow.
Let me ask you this, though, when you compose, do you wait for the muse? Or, do you actually find yourself in the studio saying, God, I haven't written a song in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and I guess I'd better write something, but, life is stable and there's nothing really upsetting you. Do you still force yourself to write?
No.
You just
I wait for the muse.
Okay. Why don't we go into the segment that I like to go into now? You have to surprise me with a new song. So, there we go. Smokey monkey do. Play me a new song. And, wait, before you even do that, let's discuss it. You got any lyrics?
See, I have to have my cheat sheets here because I am so brain
Which one are we doing?
We're going to do this one right here.
What is this?
This is an absolutely brand new song.
Well, first of all, what is this kind of chord. I don't know if you can see this. Do you see this?
All my musicians know how to read these things. I actually have tried to hand them charts, and they go, no, just give me one of your little hieroglyphics things.
What is this about? Who is it about?
This is about a real situation in my life, and I guess if I'm going to actually talk about this song, I'm going to actually right now I'm going to have to come out, because this is a song about my girlfriend, and I never. I'm starting to think maybe it's time I should come out. I've always been such a polite person, and I'm always trying. I always want everybody to love me all the time, and I don't like to put my business in the street. But it gets to be really hard to be a singer-songwriter, and you want to be honest and you want to be real, and all the time you're editing yourself. You're on stage and you're talking about your songs, and you go edit, he, she, it, you. So it's
the person I'm living with, the person in my life,
yeah,
the love of my life.
It gets really contrived. So anyways, this is about my girlfriend, and we've been together for 5 years, and all of a sudden I was thinking that we are absolutely polar opposites. My house looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse meets the LA Zoo. Her house is very zen, and it's very muted tones, and it's sort of barren, and she likes these little water machines, and she has candles on. And I'm terrified of candles, because I think my animals are going to run by and their tails are going to catch on fire, the house will burn down, and there go all my masters. So I thought, wouldn't this be a funny song? And I was like cracking myself up thinking, what would this be like if we lived together? So
let's go through the lyrics real first.
So, I mean, and what was so weird about this was
I was thinking about a tiny little spider.
Okay, I was in one of these moods, and I was just giggling, and I was completely amusing myself, and everything that was happening to me at the second that I was writing the song, I would write it into the song. So I'm sitting there at the board, and there's this little spider. You know those little tiny spiders that look like a speck? You can't even tell that it's a spider except that it moves. And this little teeny tiny spider came down on me, right in front of me, and I love animals, and I don't even hate bugs or anything. So I took his little string, and I just gently took him outside, saved his life, and then I wrote him into the song. Then the dog comes in the studio, and he looks at me with his big brown eyes, so I write him into the song. So I'm just there cracking myself up, and everything that happened to me went into the song. So
I'm now curious to hear how the music is going to sound. So this is one of the advantages. Right now, we are in Lauren's studio. And so unlike other opportunities where we've been in other studios, we're going to take this opportunity to do this so we can hear it the way we like to hear it. And we're going to use a direct feed so that you'll be able to hear it too, but we're going to be hearing it through headphones. So excuse us while we get headphone head.
So
not my own.
I just started tracking this. It's totally not done.
Okay.
This is only percussion and bass.
All right.
But it's a start.
And you want me to run?
We're going to use.
You want me to run this?
Yeah.
For you? Okay. Are you already lined up?
Okay. So we need to get a count off on there.
Okay.
And then,
you got it.
Yeah. And then.
All right. And when do you want me to push play? Just say when. Say whenever you're ready. This. Ready?
Okay. Hit it, maestro.
Okay. Lauren Wood, come and live with me, right?
Come and live
with me.
Oh, wait.
What?
Hold back. I have to, there's something really funny about this song.
Okay. Tell me.
Hit locate.
Okay. Do you want me to take it out of autoplay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll stop right now.
There's 2 lies in this song.
Lies?
There's 2 downright absolute lies in this song, okay? One is I talk about my girlfriend living in Van Nuys, okay? That's a lie. They've renamed Van Nuys to Lake Balboa, okay? But didn't rhyme, didn't work, didn't sing well. And and I also make myself sound like I live on the ocean.
Yeah.
In Malibu. I don't, I live in Laurel Canyon, okay? So there's 2 big
I'm glad you corrected it. I know I would have been confused. I'm curious to hear this now. You ready? I'm rolling you. Are we wound up?
Hit song, okay.
Yes, we're ready to rock. All right.
You can say your house in Van Nuys get you closer to the sea. I can guarantee the sunset if you come and live with me. We can walk along the ocean, we can gaze eternally, but you might not get to heaven if you come and live with me. a little tiny spider on a little tiny string, and I try not to step on him. Can I get you anything? Well, I think I saw the Savior in my sweet doggy's eyes, and I just thought that I'd tell you, 'cause it took me by surprise. It took me by surprise. You may be wrong, but you cannot hide, 'cause I'm here to stay. You may be fine that I am the one. Anyway, you can keep your hat and shoes on, or you can put them over there. Is it yours or mine? Whose side you're on is what you get to wear. Coordinate with zebra, or you can blend into the beige. Well, I'm here to help you have some fun, and not at your age. If you come and live with me, we may be done, but you cannot hide, 'cause I'm here to stay. You may be fine that I am the one. Anyway, you can say your house in Van Nuys get you closer to the sea. That's a lie. You can guarantee sunset if you come and live with me. We can walk along the ocean, we can gaze eternally, but you might not get to heaven if you come and live with me. If you come and live with me.
You are so crazy. I was really scared when, for a minute, you had my lyrics, and I went, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Well, how often does that happen that you forget your own?
Like all the time.
All the time. That short-term memory thing, it's going to be all over.